exploring the love and turmoil that exists between Mauricio Umansky and Kyle Richards is something that fans of reality television enjoy doing. On the reality show The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the former spouses take center stage. Back in 2022, however, Netflix was the one that produced Mauricio's very own show called Buying Beverly Hills. The streaming service has made the unfortunate decision to cancel the show after only 2 seasons of production. Keep reading to find out more about the decision and the dramatic future that lies ahead for the couple. There is no plan to produce a 3rd season of Buying Beverly Hills. Despite the fact that many people tuned in to Buying Beverly Hills in order to discover more about the turbulent love life of Mauricio and Kyle, fans also enjoyed watching the family business flourish. In order to acquire more knowledge about the luxury real estate industry, the 4 daughters of the family took the initiative to learn more about it. The event turned into a family gathering, and watchers were waiting with bated breath to find out what the brand would do next. Despite the fact that Kyle and Mauricio's marriage was becoming increasingly strained, they appeared to be extremely proud of their girls. The girls formed a coalition in order to safeguard the real estate empire that belonged to their family. The agency is still breathing and doing well, which is the good news. On the other hand, viewers will no longer have the opportunity to see its development and success on reality television. Sadly, there is no plan to produce a 3rd season of the series at this time. Deadline reports that Netflix has decided to discontinue the production of Buying Beverly Hills. In March, the pilot episode of the 2nd season was released, which piqued the curiosity of viewers in the family. Despite this, Netflix was unable to make the show successful. It is mentioned in the publication that the production of the series was extremely costly, and it did not attract the number of viewers that would have been required to justify the expenditure. It has come to the attention of a great number of Netflix subscribers that the show has been canceled. On the other hand, the platform features a great deal of the same programming. In just a few weeks, the 8th season of Selling Sunset will be arriving on the scene. In the meanwhile, viewers of Buying Beverly Hills have the ability to revisit the first 2 seasons of the show whenever they want on the platform. Featured features of Season 2. This is the drama surrounding Mauricio and Kyle's divorce. During the 2nd season of Buying Beverly Hills, viewers of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills witness the turmoil surrounding the recent divorce continue. As part of the storyline for Season 2, Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky have been going through the process of reconciling their relationship, which has been extremely public. Fans of the drama, on the other hand, should not be concerned. The difficult divorce that Kyle and Mauricio are going through continues to make headlines. In the most recent instance, Mauricio was seen on camera kissing a new woman while he was on vacation, which fueled Kyle's anger. When Real Housewives of Beverly Hills returns to Bravo for the upcoming season, there will be even more to investigate. When you found out that Netflix would not be producing a 3rd season of Buying Beverly Hills, did you feel disappointed? Alternately, do you concur with the decision that Netflix made to terminate the program? After 2 seasons of soaring drone shots, glassbox mansions, and a family business trying to hold its seams while the world watched, Netflix has closed escrow on Buying Beverly Hills. The streamer quietly decided not to pick up a 3rd season, ending Mauricio Umansky's glossy real estate docusoap, where the commission was never guaranteed and the personal stakes were often higher than any list price. Trade outlets first flagged the news in mid-August 2024, with follow-up coverage confirming that the show had reached its final open house. In the churn of streaming, where hits are minted and mothballed at bewildering speed, cancellations can blur into the digital noise. But this one lands with a distinct thud, if only because Buying Beverly Hills was never just about escrow and earnest money. It was about a family brand built in public, burnished on Bravo, and then rebottled for Netflix with a higher gloss sheen. At its center was Umansky, the gregarious CEO of the agency, helming a fleet of ambitious agents while navigating the tenderness and turbulence that come with working beside your daughters. The show's official materials were never shy about the premise. It followed a family-run firm that represents some of the most lavish properties in Beverly Hills, which, in reality TV language, translates to bring your best heels and a signature shade of beige. Season 2 arrived on March 22, 2024, and it raised the emotional floor as much as the production value. The backdrop, sun-glinting infinity pools, poured concrete, perma-sunset, was familiar, but the story pivoted toward the deeply personal, chronicling the ripple effects of Umansky's separation from longtime spouse Kyle Richards, as that news ricocheted through both their household and the wider Bravoverse. Vanity Fair would later describe how the Netflix series captured moments usually reserved for reunion couches and confessionals, putting real life ahead of brand management. It made for compelling, sometimes uncomfortable television, the kind you watch with a hand half over your eyes. And yet, the calculation that governs modern streaming is colder than a polished marble foyer. Reports around the cancellation pointed to a familiar ledger entry: viewing numbers versus the cost of making the show. That phrase, industry shorthand for good, but not good enough at this price, has become the quiet epitaph for many mid-tier series in the streaming era, where a global top 10 entry one week can still be curtains the next. In that context, Buying Beverly Hills wasn't singled out for scandal or a spectacular ratings flameout. It was assessed, weighed, and, by the opaque instruments of platform economics, deemed a pass. If the audience felt the sting, the family, at least publicly, seemed to take the news with a shrug of composure. Kyle Richards, speaking not long after the decision, said her daughters were not very upset, a telling response that hints at how heavy the lift of filming can be when the product is your own life. It's one thing to stage dress a listing, it's another to stage dress a rupture. The Umansky daughters have careers to run, clients to chase, and a real business to grow. Reality TV may be a megaphone, but it is also a time thief. What, then, do we do with a show like Buying Beverly Hills, now that it exists as a 2-season time capsule? First, we remember the tone it struck in a crowded genre. If many property shows are an excuse to ogle square footage while castmates volley barbs in designer athleisure, Buying Beverly Hills tried to keep one loafer planted in the realities of real estate. The sales process mattered, comps were pulled, price reductions debated, sellers soothed. Yes, the interpersonal dust-ups arrived on schedule, office hierarchies, mentorship spats, the electric fence of nepotism, but the show frequently steered back to the work. Prepping a listing, navigating a fussy buyer, resetting expectations without detonating trust. It was a subtlety play in a category that often prefers symbols. Second, we acknowledge the narrative swing of Season 2. The cameras captured a family reckoning with change in marriage, in brand, in the stories they were willing to tell, and where they chose to tell them. For longtime Bravo viewers, there was a meta-thrill and occasional frustration in watching chapters unfold on Netflix that might otherwise have lived on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Andy Cohen himself, ever the referee of unscripted spats, waved off accusations of treachery, noting that these were most stories to tell. Cross-platform soap operas are a hallmark of our time. Buying Beverly Hills leaned into that modern media braid. Third, we consider the optics of luxury in a jittery age. When interest rates climb and headlines ping-pong between market froth and affordability crisis, the appetite for $20 million glass boxes can feel, for some viewers, like dessert before dinner. And yet aspirational TV has always sold the same dream: life, but curated, conflict, but photogenic, work, but with better shoes. Buying Beverly Hills placed that fantasy in the hands of a family juggling public identity with private upheaval. The gamble was that the audience would stay for both the tour and the talk. For 2 seasons, many did. If there's a post-mortem lesson here for streamers, it's not novel. Reality formats still need a heartbeat. Either transactional stakes so sharp you can hear the pen scratch on paper, or personal stakes that widen beyond the names on the call sheet. Buying Beverly Hills attempted both. At its best, the series was a field guide to relationship-based selling, proving that soft skills, presence, timing, emotional intelligence, close more deals than any glossy brochure. At its messiest, it showed us how hard it is to protect a marriage, a business, and a public image at the same time, particularly when the cameras are rolling and everyone has a brand to defend. The cancellation doesn't erase those moments, but it does fix the show in amber. There will be no third season course correction, no victory lap montage of growth arcs completed, no triumphant, we weathered that storm episode that reality TV veterans know how to engineer. The Umanskys move forward, as all TV families do when the lights cut, on social media, inside hustles, across other platforms, at client meetings to which cameras are no longer invited. The agency still lists homes, the city still glitters, the sunset still obliges, but the document of this particular chapter is complete. What remains, most memorably, is the show's signature rhythm. The day would begin with a sleeve of texts and a latte. By noon, a drone would trace the outline of a hillside estate. By mid-afternoon, the team would problem-solve a price drop, salvage a showing, or thread an apology. And then, after the staged candles and the golden hour and the clink of glasses, the conversation would pivot back to family. How are you, really? Is a question that can disarm even the slickest sales pro. Buying Beverly Hills kept asking it, sometimes getting answers that needed no soundtrack to sting. It is easy, in hindsight, to wish the show had been more combative or more transactional. Pick your lane. As if purity of purpose could guarantee renewal. But part of its charm was that it didn't pretend work and life were separable. Office politics were holiday dinner politics. Mentorship was parental. Feedback landed where affection already lived. In a genre famous for manufactured conflict, Buying Beverly Hills often let the authentic tension breathe. The disappointment of a missed listing, the awkwardness of a boundary crossed, the ache of a home that meant more than money. If you want a final image to file away, make it this: a perfectly staged living room at twilight. Outside, the city is a scatter of diamonds. Inside, everything is neutral and new. An agent you've come to know moves a throw pillow 1 inch to the left, then steps back, tilts their head, exhales. The doorbell will ring, buyers will flow through like a tide, and the patter will begin. But for a beat, there is quiet, an intermission in which the work is done and the outcome unknown. That's where the show often lived, on the breath before someone says yes. Cancellations, of course, are not creative judgments etched in stone. They are business decisions dressed as programming strategy. And while fans will always root for Save My Show miracles, the more likely afterlife for Buying Beverly Hills is softer. Clips that surface in algorithmic currents, a weekend binge by someone catching up on the Umansky-Richards timeline, a handful of agents who found themselves confident, complicated, competent, on a screen where prestige TV rarely places them. For 2 seasons, they sold the dream and labored in the reality. That's a worthy legacy for a series about houses that are beautiful and people who are trying to be. So Netflix turned out the lights. The staging is struck, the drones are grounded, the key box is empty. Somewhere in the hills, a lock clicks and echoes through a silent foyer. On another street, less shiny, more ordinary, someone else opens their front door and steps into a life not designed for television at all. The rest, as ever, is off camera. Leave your own thoughts and ideas in the comments.